I was on a lounge chair by the ocean, finally feeling some peace, when my phone rang. It was Mark. He was crying from the moment I answered. "Leo, please, you have to come to the hospital. It's Clara. The doctors are saying she needs an operation, that her life is in danger." He was sobbing so hard I could barely understand him. She won't agree to it unless you're here. She said she'd rather die than not see you." I let out a short, tired laugh. It wasn't funny, but it was absurd. "Is that so? Well, you can tell her she's free to do that then." I ended the call. He immediately called back. I blocked his number. A minute later, a text came in from Clara's assistant, Ben. He laid out the whole story. It seems after Clara signed the divorce papers, she was in a hurry to get to Mark to tell him the news. She was speeding and hit a semi-truck. She was seriously injured, with several broken ribs and a possible leg fracture. That part, Ben said, would heal. The real issue was the head injury. She had a hematoma, and it was putting pressure on her cranial nerves. The result was that she had lost the last 10 years of her life. She was, in her mind, stuck at 18 years old. Back then, I was the only person she cared about. But she's 28 now. She didn't love me anymore, and we were divorced. I had no interest in getting involved with her again. Whether she lived or died really had nothing to do with me. As I was thinking that, my phone started blowing up with texts from Clara herself. You could tell from the messages that she was in a panic. "Baby, did we get married? I finally married you. Haha. Why would I divorce you? No, that's impossible. They showed me these divorce papers and said I was the one who wanted them. You have to believe me. That must have been a different person, or maybe I was possessed. It wasn't me. I love you so much. How could I marry you and then just leave you? And who is this Mark guy? God, he's so ugly. There's no way I could ever be interested in someone like him. Baby, come back. If you don't come back, I'm not going to have the surgery. There's no point in living if I can't be with you." Clara hadn't called me by that pet name in a very long time. She had forgotten I wasn't her baby anymore. She'd also forgotten how she spoke to me now. There was a huge gap between us, one that a few texts couldn't fix. I set my phone down and tipped my hat over my eyes. My mind was a complete mess. For a second, the 18-year-old Clara and the 28-year-old Clara seemed to blur together in my head. The good memories and the terrible ones overlapped, like a strange, jumbled dream. I remembered the night after our college entrance exams, when the 18-year-old Clara waited outside my apartment all night long. She ended up with a high fever the next day, but was still smiling. "Leo," she'd said, "you told me you were worried about distractions, but the exams are over. Can you give me a chance? If you can't, I'll just keep waiting until you say yes." But then I remembered 10 years later, when the 28-year-old Clara left me alone at the hospital, right after I had an emergency appendectomy. I needed someone to help me, but she had to go celebrate Mark's birthday. My incision got infected, I had complications, and my fever wouldn't go down. All she said was, "We're getting a divorce anyway. It's probably better for you in the long run if you're not so dependent on me." I ended up handling all the hospital discharge paperwork by myself. It was a serious situation that technically required a family member's signature, but I couldn't get a hold of her. Mark was the one who finally answered her phone. He told me Clara had just fallen asleep. "She's really tired," he'd said. "She has a big client meeting later, so she probably doesn't have time to deal with that." I closed my eyes, the memory still uncomfortable. It was true that the 18-year-old version of her loved me. It was just as true that the 28-year-old version didn't. I couldn't forgive her. It just wasn't possible. Suddenly, a call came through from Clara's number. I took a deep breath and answered it. "Hello? Baby, is that you? I'm so sorry. They told me a lot about what's happened over the years, and I just hate myself so much. How could that be me? How could I have treated you that way? They said we started a company together, and the divorce papers say you get half the shares. I want to change it. I'll give you everything. I don't want any of it. Just promise you'll come see me. Just once, okay? And I guess I'm pretty rich now, too. I'll give you all my money. Clara, I said, keeping my voice steady, you've just lost your memory. When you get it back, you're going to regret everything you're saying right now. It's over between us. The person you love isn't me anymore. Please be rational and stop bothering me, okay? No, I'm going to bother you. I am being rational. There's no way I don't love you, and if you don't come, I'm not getting treated. Then don't, I said. Lie there and wait to die. After hanging up, I switched my phone to airplane mode. Just then, a few dark clouds started to roll in over the blue sky, and the wind picked up. It looked like it was going to rain. I walked slowly back toward the hotel. The wind was whipping my shirt around and blowing my hair into my face. My thoughts were all over the place. I had to admit, I did miss the 18-year-old Clara a little bit. The Clara who only had eyes for me. The Clara who would have fought anyone just to be with me. But what was the point of missing her? That version of her was gone. The amnesia was temporary. Once her memory came back, there would be nothing left between us but resentment. There was no reason to get involved again. Clara and I had officially started dating right after our final exams. We were sweethearts all through college and got married after graduation. We dated for 7 years and were married for 3. We were the couple that everyone pointed to. They all said that if they ever stopped believing in love, they just had to look at us to feel hopeful again. But in the end, we disappointed everyone. We got divorced. The reason was simple. She was unfaithful. To be honest, I had known Clara was involved with her male assistant for a while. At first, I didn't say anything because I didn't know how to handle it. Later on, it was because I knew there was nothing I could do. I understood that no matter what I did, I couldn't change the fact that she didn't love me anymore. Since that was the reality, protecting my own interests was the only logical thing to do. Once I accepted that, I stopped thinking about our relationship and started spending more time at the office, strengthening my relationships with our major clients and suppliers. At the same time, I started looking for new suppliers to develop innovative product lines with, hoping to refresh our inventory and improve our market position. Clara never figured out why I suddenly became so focused on work. Not until I brought up the divorce and demanded 50% of the company stock, along with the house, the cars, and all of our liquid savings. She refused, of course, but she didn't really have a choice. At that time, Mark was putting a lot of pressure on her, using his son's future as a way to corner her. She wanted to make their relationship public and protect her own reputation, which meant she had to agree to my terms. In the end, she signed the divorce papers, clearly furious. I'll never forget the way she looked at me. It was a mix of disgust, shock, and pure hatred. She said, "I can't believe the person who schemed against me the most was the man I was sleeping next to. I'll give you this, Leo. I was completely wrong about you. I never knew you could be this ruthless." I didn't bother arguing with her. I had successfully removed a toxic person from my life and secured the assets that I had earned. I was satisfied. I'm a businessman. I only care about the results, and if the results are good, then everything is fine. Nothing else really matters. As for her offer to give me all her shares and all her money, that was something only the 18-year-old version of her would say. After all, she was deeply in love with me back then. But the 28-year-old her would never say that, and she certainly wouldn't do it. The Clara I knew now argued over every single penny. She was calculating, selfish, and cold. Her first thought in any situation was whether her own interests were in danger. She wouldn't give up a single cent of what was hers, and she'd try to find a way to get what wasn't. There was no love left between us, only a negotiation over assets. But I have my principles. I wasn't going to take advantage of her while she was in this state. Her amnesia was temporary, and I had no intention of exploiting it. Her offer, to change the divorce agreement? I wasn't taking it seriously. Back at the hotel, I took a nap. When I woke up, it was already evening. The moment I turned my phone off airplane mode, I saw a message from Clara's mother. "Are you happy now? My daughter slit her wrists. She's in emergency surgery right now, and we don't know if she'll make it. I never knew you were such a heartless man. You two were together for so many years. How could you just leave her to die? So what if she cheated? So what if she did something to wrong you? Does that mean you want her dead?" When I didn't reply, she sent a few more messages a little while later. Her tone was completely different. "Leo, can I please beg you, as your mother-in-law? Please just come to the hospital and see her. You can name any price, $50,000. I'll give you $50,000, okay? If that's not enough, $100,000. I just want my daughter to live. She's the only daughter I have." My gut told me that even if I didn't go, this wasn't going to be over. The 18-year-old Clara would do anything to get me back. Besides, we had only signed the divorce agreement. We hadn't actually filed the papers with the court yet. Legally, we were still married. Fine. I might as well go back and see what was happening. After all, the only way I could feel any sense of closure was to see with my own eyes how badly this had turned out for her. So I replied, "Deal. Venmo or Zelle. I'll book a flight once the money is in my account." By the time I arrived at the hospital, Clara was out of danger and had been moved to a regular room. She was covered in casts and bandages and looked completely pathetic. The moment she saw me, her eyes lit up. "Baby, you finally came. I knew you wouldn't abandon me." $100,000. What? Your mom gave me $100,000 to come here. No, I don't believe you. There's no way you have zero feelings for me. I showed her the transaction record on my phone. The light in her eyes went out immediately. After a long pause, she said, "I'm sorry. I must have done a lot of things to hurt you over the years, right? My assistant, Ben, told me everything. He said I cheated on you with my own secretary. He said I hurt you over and over again for him. I don't know why I became that person, but I know for sure that you're the one I love." Clara, there's no point in saying any of this now. I looked at her, feeling nothing. Your memory will come back sooner or later. You'll remember how we tortured and hurt each other. You'll remember every single ugly moment between us. When that happens, all you'll feel for me is disgust and hatred, just like I feel for you right now. Then I won't get treated, okay? I'll just let my memory stay gone forever. I don't want a life without you. I can't even imagine how I would live without you. I sighed, feeling tired of the whole situation. Suddenly, I heard a sob from the doorway. "What are you doing here again? Didn't I make myself clear?" Clara's face immediately hardened with anger as she yelled at Mark, who was standing in the doorway. "You knew I was married, and you shamelessly forced your way in. Don't you have parents? Didn't they teach you how to be a decent human being? I don't care if I have amnesia or not, I would never like you. You literally make me sick. Get out. Get out now." Mark's face turned bright red. He just stood there, completely stunned, as large tears rolled down his cheeks. Clara had forgotten how she used to hate seeing Mark cry. It used to break her heart. She'd also forgotten that Mark didn't have parents. That was why she'd developed such a strong need to take care of him, always saying she wanted to give him a home. "Mark isn't like you," she used to tell me. "He can't live without me, but you'll be fine on your own. I admit I've wronged you. My feelings changed. But I can't help it. I just love him, you understand? Name your price. As long as you agree to a divorce, I'll give you company shares, property, money, whatever you want." She was willing to do anything to get rid of me, like scraping gum off her shoe. She was irritated, disgusted, and sick of me. And Mark? He was her light, her comfort after a long day, her hope for a new life. "I'm not leaving." Mark's raw shout broke my train of thought. He cried, "You've just temporarily forgotten me. When you remember, you'll know how much we love each other. This man." He pointed at me with pure hatred. "You stopped loving him a long time ago. You divorced him for me. You said you couldn't stand the sight of him. You said touching him was like touching yourself, completely numb. You said—" "Just shut up!" Clara's voice was sharp. With a sudden movement, she swept the water glass off her nightstand, and it shattered on the floor. Mark flinched, stopping mid-sentence, too scared to even breathe. The air in the room felt heavy. "Are you still not leaving? How many times do I have to say it?" She clenched her fists, her eyes like daggers. Mark finally gave up and ran out of the room, crying. After a long silence, I said to her, "Why are you so hard on him? He's your boyfriend. He didn't do anything wrong by coming to see you. Stealing you away from me was his biggest mistake." "Clara," I said, feeling weary, "you fell for him first. He didn't steal you from me, you chose to leave. When it comes to this, don't just blame the other man." "Impossible. I don't believe you." "Believe it or not, it happened." Her head dropped. Suddenly, she started slapping herself hard across the face, choking back sobs. "Even I'm disgusted with myself right now. Can you tell me, how did we end up like this?" I shook my head. "If you really want to know, then cooperate with the doctors. Once your memory comes back, you'll understand everything." "No, I won't get treatment. I want to gouge that part of my memory out of my brain for good." "Suit yourself." Suddenly, she pulled out the divorce agreement from a drawer and tore it to shreds in front of me. "Let's not get a divorce, okay? Leo, let's stay married. From now on, there won't be a third person. No one can ever tear us apart." I remained completely still, just looking at her with a sense of detachment. Her eyes turned red. She mumbled helplessly, "You're never going to forgive me, are you?" I didn't answer. My heart felt completely quiet as I looked at her. She couldn't stir any emotion in me anymore. "You should calm down. I'm leaving." She screamed, completely losing control. "Don't go! Don't leave me, Leo! Come back!" I couldn't. The Leo she wanted was gone. The pain from what happened used to keep me up at night, making me feel empty and cold. I had to get through all of that by myself. I'd already come out the other side. Why would I fool myself and repeat the same mistakes just because she lost her memory? "Clara," I said, "when I loved you, I would have done anything for you. Now that I don't, you could die, and it wouldn't hurt me at all." When I got home, I gathered all of her things, packed them into boxes, and left them by the front door. Then I sent Mark a text. "Come get her stuff, or it's going in the trash." He didn't reply, but I knew he'd come. He'd been waiting for this day for a long time. He just never expected that when the day finally came, the outcome would be the complete opposite. Not only had Clara failed to cut ties with me, but she was clinging to me more than ever. And he hadn't just failed to win her over, he was now the target of her complete anger. When he showed up, his eyes were red and swollen. The look he gave me was not friendly. "You must be pretty pleased with yourself, huh? Clara has completely forgotten me. All she can think about is you. But it's only temporary. I'll wait for her memory to come back. I'll wait as long as it takes. You, on the other hand, are already out of the picture." I gave him a cool look, feeling only disdain. I couldn't stop myself from muttering, "Idiot." "What did you say?" "Nothing," I said, with a sincere expression. "I was just thinking about what a complete idiot you are. You He was so angry he started to tear up again, but he was speechless. I wasn't in the mood to watch his performance. "Get out of here," I said, motioning him away. "And make sure you find her the best doctors for that brain of hers. Otherwise, you'll be the other man for the rest of your life. Ha!" He finally shut up and left in a hurry. If he were smart, he wouldn't have provoked me right now. His only leverage was Clara's love for him. Now that Clara didn't even remember he existed, his only hope of getting back in her good graces depended on my cooperation. But no, he couldn't see the situation clearly. He saw me as his mortal enemy. In that case, I'd just have to make sure he couldn't recover. After he left, I looked around the empty apartment, wondering how to get rid of it. This place held all 3 years of my married life with Clara. I definitely couldn't live here anymore. It felt tainted. Selling it was the only option. I remember when we first bought this place, Clara excitedly grabbed my hands and spun me around in the living room. "This feels like a dream," she'd said. "We finally have our own home." But later, while I was away on business trips, she secretly brought Mark home. They cooked together in the kitchen, lounged on the living room sofa watching movies, and stood together on the balcony enjoying the view. I even found a used condom in the master bathroom trash can. Yes, Mark had a right to taunt me, because in his mind, he was the winner. He was convinced there was no love left between Clara and me, that his arrival was her salvation. He was always flaunting their relationship in my face, as if my refusal to divorce her was just me humiliating myself. But I didn't agree to the divorce to make him happy. I did it to free myself. It was clear we couldn't continue. But the timing of the divorce had to be perfect. When I had control of the company, when Mark showed up with his kid, when I could maximize my own gains. I spent the next few days busy with selling the apartment. In the middle of it all, I got a call from someone at the company. "Mr. Davis, we have a huge problem. You've got to talk to Ms. Liu. She's suddenly acting like a child. A client is demanding a shipment, and she actually said she quits, that there's no point in working if she doesn't have her husband. We're probably going to be in breach of contract. And the suppliers, she's offended a lot of them. Several have already refused to work with us anymore." I listened quietly. Since this was all part of my plan, I wasn't surprised. I just said, "Don't worry about it. Let her keep making a mess," and hung up. I knew the 18-year-old Clara. Back then, she was completely obsessed with me, and the only thing she cared about was being together. She knew the company was my baby, so she was trying to destroy it just to force me to pay attention to her. But she didn't know that I didn't care anymore. No matter what tantrum she threw, it wouldn't work. When my new company is established, nearly half of the key employees from the old one will come with me. That place will be nothing but an empty shell. Seeing that I wasn't reaching out, she quickly grew restless. "Don't you care about the company the most? They say you're a workaholic. So what? I've driven away all the clients and alienated the suppliers, and you're still not going to yell at me?" "Clara," I replied calmly, "you have amnesia, not brain damage. Can you please stop with these childish games?" I hung up. She called back again. I had no choice but to block her temporarily. I never expected her mother to show up at my door. I was with a real estate agent, taking pictures of the apartment. She didn't seem surprised to see them, just cautiously asked if we could talk. "If you have something to say, just say it, as you can see, I'm pretty busy." "Leo, you called me Mom for 3 years. Can you please not speak to me like that?" Her eyes glistened with tears. "My daughter. She's in a very bad state right now. You know she's my only child. Her father died a long time ago, and I'm all alone." "Stop. What is it you want to say? Can you not divorce her? Even if you just pretend to get her to accept treatment. You're the only one she'll listen to right now. I'm out of ideas." It turned out Clara had completely cut ties with Mark, treating him like he was toxic. The sight of him sent her into a rage. She was convinced he was the cause of all our problems, that without him, we never would have divorced. She also said that if she couldn't get my forgiveness, she would refuse all treatment. But I didn't care. Her mother seemed to know that too. She was practically on her knees, begging me. For a second, I felt a strange sense of familiarity. Was this the same mother-in-law who, after learning Mark had shown up with a child from a previous relationship, had relentlessly pushed me to divorce her daughter? I guess you never know how much something hurts until it happens to you. Right now, she was just a mother terrified of losing her daughter. It wasn't surprising to see her this desperate. "I'm sorry, I can't help you with that," I refused bluntly. "You know how your daughter treated me. Do you really think I can just forget all that and go back to being a loving husband? If I remember correctly, your husband cheated on you too, right? You didn't even shed a tear when he died. You never forgave him, did you? So put yourself in my shoes. Why are you putting me in this position?" The light in her eyes slowly faded. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, "I'll give you another 100,000. As long as you can convince my daughter to accept the treatment. As long as my daughter can get better." "Deal." She looked at me, incredulous. "What did you say?" I curled my lips into a small smile and repeated, "I said it's a deal. Transfer the money now, and I'll go right over." "Why not? I'm a businessman. I only care about profits. Getting paid 100 grand just to put on a show? That was a good deal. Although not quite as easy as the 100 grand I got just for showing up last time." On the way to the hospital, I watched the scenery blur past the window and felt an unprecedented sense of release. I truly had no feelings left for Clara. Human resilience is far greater than you imagine. The obstacles you think you'll never overcome, you get past them without even realizing it, often without even trying. I remember back then, people at the company were shifting their loyalties, laughing at me behind my back. "Leo is so tough. If I were him, I couldn't take it." "You don't get it. He can't let go of the company. It's his baby, proof that he and Clara were once in love." "So what? Clara doesn't love him anymore. She has someone new. She cheated, and she gets to act all high and mighty. Hey, we're just employees. Let's not get involved. Just be smart and don't cross Mark. He's the one sleeping with the boss now. He's on top." I didn't care about any of that. I was just secretly gutting the company from the inside. On the surface, though, I played the perfect victim. I'd pick huge fights with Clara, acting like a bitter, abandoned husband. This made Mark even more arrogant. He said, "It's pretty pathetic for a man to end up like you. You can't keep your woman's heart, yet you're willing to keep working for her. Don't you know that all the money you're making for the company will be mine one day?" I pretended to despise him, fighting and yelling, telling him I would never divorce Clara and that he would always be the other man, hidden in the shadows. I did this to provoke him into pressuring Clara even more to make their relationship official. He fell right into my trap. But before that, he managed to screw me over one last time. Mark had been plotting for a while. To frame me, he intentionally threw himself down a flight of stairs during an argument and then cried to Clara when she rushed over. "I know Leo hates me, but he can't just push me down the stairs." Even after I pulled the security footage to prove my innocence, Clara insisted that I was consumed by jealousy and had a twisted heart. Arguing felt pointless. When we were signing the divorce papers, Clara said, "We were together for 10 years. There's no need to make this so ugly. Since you know everything, let's stop torturing each other. Let's just be decisive. Name your terms." I told her I wanted half the company, all the real estate, the cars, and our current savings. She refused at first. I said, "Then we don't get a divorce. Let Mark be the other man forever." In that moment, The look in her eyes changed from disgust to pure hatred. But I didn't care. I knew with absolute certainty that the girl who once had eyes only for me was gone. Her memory turned to dust in the river of time. That being the case, I could let the person go, but I wouldn't give up a single penny of the money. Lost in thought, I arrived at the hospital. As I approached her room, I could hear shouting and a man's sobs from inside. When I walked in, Mark was standing in the corner with tears streaming down his face. Clara was screaming at him to get out, throwing everything she could reach. She only calmed down a little when she saw me. "Leo, you came to see me?" The light in her eyes. If I had seen it before she met Mark, it would have moved me. This was how she looked when she loved me. I remembered. Now it just made me feel empty. I tried to keep my expression neutral as I walked over and sat on the edge of her bed. "Clara," I said, my voice gentle and persuasive. "You don't want to divorce me, right? You want to be with me forever. I came here today to tell you that I agree. But I have one condition. You have to get better." "Really?" She grabbed my hand, her voice trembling. "But how can I believe you?" "Silly, we only signed the agreement. We haven't filed the papers. Legally, I'm still your husband. If you don't agree to the divorce, I can't go anywhere." She was still skeptical, so I pressed on. 10 years. We were together for a whole decade. After such a long journey, how could I just stop loving you because you got a little lost along the way? All I ever wanted was for you to come back to me. Since you are so sure that you don't love Mark, that I'm the one you love, then there's nothing standing between us anymore." She finally saw a glimmer of hope and nodded at me emphatically, tears welling in her eyes. As she was being wheeled into the operating room, she reminded me over and over, "When I get out, I want you to be the first person I see." I smiled at her. "Okay, don't worry." But I knew in my heart that if the surgery was successful, I would be the absolute last person she'd want to see. After she went in, Mark walked up to me and said harshly, "Your job is done. Aren't you leaving? Are you actually waiting to get back together with her? Don't even dream of it. Once her memory comes back, she'll know I'm the one she loves, not you." I didn't say anything this time. I knew Clara's mother would speak for me. Sure enough, she rushed over the next second and pulled him away. "You shut your mouth! Who can guarantee this surgery will be a success? What if her memory doesn't come back and she's still crying for Leo? You're just the other man. Can't you learn your place? If it weren't for you, her condition wouldn't have gotten worse. She loses control every time she sees you. Don't you get it?" Mark's face flushed with anger, but he couldn't argue, because what her mother said was true. The 18-year-old Clara, whose morals hadn't yet been warped, was fiercely loyal to me. Mark, the third party, was a living testament to her shame. It was only natural that she would fly into a rage at the sight of him. The wait was incredibly boring. At one point, I got a text from the real estate agent saying that several groups of people had already seen the apartment. If all went well, it would sell soon. Excellent. Getting rid of things connected to Clara always put me in a good mood. The light above the operating room door went out. Clara was wheeled out. The surgery was a success. "We've cleared the hematoma," the doctor said. "If there are no complications, her memory should return soon." Clara's mother excitedly thanked the doctor, while Mark collapsed to the floor, sobbing with joy. Feeling rather out of place, I said, "Well, since that's taken care of, I guess you don't need me anymore, right? I'll be heading out." No one paid me any attention. No one stopped me. I was just the hired help, after all. Fine by me. After I left, I met with a young couple who were getting married. The woman, probably in her early 20s, kept telling me, "I absolutely love this big balcony and the Floor-to-ceiling windows are so tasteful. Standing here, you can see the entire city skyline. But I don't want to watch it by myself. I want to watch it with the person I love." With that, she bounced over to the man, linked her arm through his, and looked up at him with a wide grin. His handsome face was filled with affection as he leaned down and tweaked her nose. Something stirred in me. I managed a tight smile. That scene. It was so familiar. Once, I had held Clara just as tightly, burying my face in her neck and whispering, "I hope that when I'm standing here looking at the view alone, you'll sneak up and wrap your arms around me, rest your head on my shoulder, and ask me what I'm thinking. Let's not have any secrets. Let's not go to bed angry, and let's never lie to each other for their own good. If one day you stop loving me, you have to tell me. Don't betray me. I can accept you not loving me, but I can't accept you betraying me." At the time, Clara had sworn to me, "Don't worry. If one of us is going to change, it will never be me. From the first moment I saw you when I was 18, my biggest dream has been to marry you." I smiled and leaned down to kiss her. All I could picture was a future filled with happy days after our wedding. But that happiness didn't last long. She quickly grew bored. After meeting Mark, that boredom became tangible. In the end, she didn't even want to talk to me anymore. Whatever. Love is a luxury in life. Having it is a blessing. Losing it is the norm. Best to just take it in stride. "We're good on our end. When can we sign the contract?" I was pulled back to the present. I smiled and replied, "Anytime." "Great. We'll be in touch soon. Thank you for letting it go. We really love the place." I finally managed a genuine, relieved smile. "Congratulations on your wedding in advance." They glanced at each other and squeezed their hands tighter. Clara woke up a week later. I never expected that with her memory restored, she would come looking for me, in a wheelchair no less. For a second I was confused. Did the surgery fail? She quickly cleared things up. Her first words were, "Why did you sell our home?" "Not our home," I corrected. "Just a house. My house." "Leo, do you hate me that much?" "Hate is a strong word. I just thought the place was a little dirty, lost its appeal." Her eyes turned red. "So everything you said to me before the surgery, it was all a lie?" "Of course," I said bluntly. "Your mother gave me $100,000 to convince you to get treatment. I took the money, so I did the job." "You lied to me." "Yes, I did." She clenched her fists so hard it looked like her nails were digging into her palms. It was the first time I'd ever seen Clara like this. Broken, helpless, desperate, and filled with a regret so deep it was suffocating. Honestly, I didn't get it. Where was this complex cocktail of emotions coming from? Wasn't divorce what she always wanted? Once divorced, she could be with Mark, openly. She could escape the life of mutual torture with me. Wasn't that a good thing? "I regret it," she choked out, her breath catching as if she'd made a monumental decision. When I woke up, all I could see were flashes of our life together over all these years. Leo, I realize now that the person I love has always been you. Mark was just a moment of madness. You were my childhood dream. How could I— Enough. Stop. I cut her off with a wave of my hand. Hearing you say this now is just disgusting. I don't care who you love. All I know is that you are the one person I want to be free of for the rest of my life. Not hating you is the greatest mercy I can offer. If you keep pestering me like this, I'm going to lose all respect for you. I'll feel ashamed that I ever loved you. She tried to say something else, but I interrupted. When are you free? We need to file the divorce papers. Fine, but I want to change the agreement. Was she backing out? Trying to renegotiate the assets? My heart seized, but then she said, I don't want my shares in the company. It's all yours. Think of it as compensation. I'm walking away with absolutely nothing." I nodded. "Fine. That's what you owe me." After the divorce was finalized, Clara never bothered me again. I did hear, however, that she and Mark had a massive fight, during which he threatened to make me pay. For the first time in her life, Clara got physical with a man, warning him, "If you dare touch Leo, you and I are done." They broke up after that. Mark desperately clung to her, demanding she take responsibility for him. To get away from him, she left for Africa by herself. As for me, I had no time to keep track of their drama. I had to rebuild, make the company stronger, and while I was at it, clean out all the sycophants who had sided with Mark. This company was something Clara and I built together. I knew the products, the clients, the suppliers, and the distribution channels better than she did. Since she voluntarily gave up her shares and transferred ownership, there was no need for me to declare bankruptcy and start from scratch. After all these years, I still had some attachment to it. People can change their hearts, and you can let them go. But a company makes money, and if it makes money, you keep it. After all, compared to people, money is far more important and far more loyal. Later on, I heard from a colleague that Mark's affair was exposed and posted online. His reputation was ruined. No company would hire him, so he had to crawl back to his hometown and marry some local woman. A woman, I heard, with a violent streak. His future was grimly predictable. At a college reunion, I happened to hear that Clara had been caught in a violent uprising in a remote village in Africa and had never returned to the States. Some said she'd started a family there and wasn't coming back. Others said she couldn't come back, that she was probably gone for good. When they asked me about her, all I could say was, "I don't know. We haven't spoken since the divorce. I have to hear the news from you guys." These were the same classmates who had witnessed our love story, who had envied our marriage. Now all that was left was sighs and nostalgia. I suppose I felt it too. Walking through our old high school campus, memories always rush back like a tide, but only a few lines come to mind. If only life were always like the first time we met. How quickly the human heart changes, they said. But really, it's just that the human heart is quick to change. Clara. I don't regret that we loved each other. It's just that thinking about it hurts. So from now on, I won't think about it anymore. Goodbye.